So do we have to wait for people to log in, or we're just going to start up?
Okay, I'll start the introduction now. Hello everybody, welcome to a new School of Data Skillshare. My name is Meg and I work as coordinator for School of Data. School of Data is a project and a community of change makers who empower journalists, civil society organisations and citizens to make use of data. As part of this work, we produce a series of video Skillshares run by the members of our fellowship programme around various tools, methodologies and aspects of data literacy. They join our growing body of learning material that you can find on schoolofdata.org. Today, I'm delighted to say our speaker will be Nkechi from Nigeria, who will start by introducing herself before talking about our main subject, which is community building around Edo State Open Data Portal in Nigeria. Over to you, Nkechi.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Meg, for the introduction. Can you hear me?
Yeah, hear you loud and clear. Go ahead.
Thank you, Meg, for the introduction. Just like she said, we're various fellows from different parts of the world, and my name is Nkechi. I'm the fellow from Nigeria, and I'll be taking you through a brief introduction into community building, taking my own project in community building in Nigeria as a case study. Basically, I'm currently working with the government of Edo State, Nigeria, as the open data manager of the first portal in Africa, first national portal in Africa, and the only open data portal in Nigeria. So we've been doing that for the past 2 years, and we've been coordinating and releasing data to the public.
Sorry, Nkechi, we just lost you for a minute. Could you repeat that last bit?
Improving data literacy in Nigeria, alongside the help with School of Data and also collaboration with other community. So basically, my goal as a School of Data fellow for the past 7 months has been building a data literate community in Nigeria. So the Skillshare for today is going to be taking you through the processes, the challenges, and steps we've been taking to ensure that the community stands strong and the community gets up to its full potential. So at the moment, I'm just going to be sharing my screen with you to take you through the agenda and to help you understand what we'll be talking about today. Can you see my screen?
Yeah,
can you see my screen, Meg?
Yeah, I can see it, great.
Okay. So today, for the next minutes, we'll be talking about what a community is, why starting one was important for us in Nigeria, our community building experience, what has it been like for us, the challenges of actually organizing a community in Nigeria. Then I'll be giving you a few of the tips we've learned from the experiences we've gathered so far, then references and resources. So what's this Skillshare for? Why is this important to some persons, or rather, what are the categories of individuals or groups that community building is important to? And I think it's going to be useful for civil societies, non-governmental organizations, tech communities, enthusiasts in general, and in a broad category, I think it's going to be useful for anyone who has a pressing social problem and does not want to solve it alone, where you're thinking of a challenge that exists, change in your society. If you're actually thinking of probably how technology can help solve some solutions. Sometimes you don't want to do this alone, and maybe starting a community might be a very good back. I know most of us actually don't know what a community is and what community building is, but I found this interesting from Wikipedia on what a community is. So we're going to be understanding this definition, and it's going to be a basis for the whole part of the Skillshare. I advise you have this definition at the back of your mind, and then consume other information and to help you understand fully and probably give you different other steps in which you can use in improving your community building. Now, Wikipedia says that a community is a group of people living in the same place or having particular characteristics in common, or a feeling of fellowship with others as a result of sharing common attitudes, interests, and goals. That's what makes up a community. So definitely, in building a community, you should be thinking, are there other group of persons who share the same goals that I'm trying to achieve? Are there other people who share the same interests? Are there other people who are living around me or in the same geographical space like myself, having common goals or particular characteristics with what I'm trying to solve, experiencing the same challenges, or passionate about change? Those are the kind of thoughts that comes to one's mind, and then you think about if it's something you can do on your own, or you actually need to make up a community to solve that problem. Now, I should wish to note that the different types of communities, and a community can actually be 2 or 3 persons, 4 to 5 persons. It doesn't have to be 100, 50 persons. 5 persons coming together to solve, bearing the same characteristics, having a common goal and sharing common attitudes can actually be termed a community. So now, quickly, I'm just going to jump to my own experience and let you understand why it was very important in starting a community in Nigeria. Now, I wish to reiterate at this point that our community around the Edo State Open Data Portal in Benin City, Nigeria, is at the southern, mostly at the southern part of Nigeria, and was started for various reasons. So now I'm going to be sharing the challenges that was on ground, or the common characteristics we all shared, a common interest we all shared, that made it important for us to start up a community. First of all, I'm going to just take you through what the open data community is like in Nigeria, and let you understand the nitty-gritty of what it looks like, what open data, the views about open data, what it looks like in Nigeria. Now, I'll want to reiterate at this moment that open data is a new topic, and I think it's not just a new topic in Nigeria, but it's also a new topic in every part of the world. It's a new trend. Can you confirm you can hear me, Meg?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
All right. So open data is a new trend in the world, and in Africa as a whole, it's not, transparency hasn't been something of a culture, and sharing information, putting information online, putting data online, or putting the culture of collecting data in the process of activities hasn't really been in the culture of Nigeria. And in my experience in the past 7 months and over the years, I came about a few points about the open data community in Nigeria. So basically, I'm just going to share my experience about what it has been like in starting one in Nigeria. Can you confirm you can see my screen, Meg?
Yeah, I can see that fine.
All right. So open data is a very new topic, and transparency, like I said, is not a much talked about topic in Africa. And inclusive participatory governance has not really been a way of life. A lot of corruption has been found in those parts of the world, and people haven't really been engaged in participatory budgeting, in actually the voice of citizens haven't really been heard when it comes to governance. Advocacy and civic engagement has mostly been done without technology. So the methodology of town hall meetings, cooperatives, of focus groups is still a very strong way of getting things done. And very importantly, and I think you should all notice that Edo State is the only state out of 36 states in Nigeria that has an open data portal. The country as a whole doesn't have an open data portal at the moment, and Edo State is the only state. So it's not been so easy trying to bring up a new way or a supposedly better way to get things done. And I'm gonna just let you know the kind of challenges we faced as a community that led to us thinking that it is time to build a better engaging community in Nigeria. Now, we've been releasing data for the past two years, and there was a disconnect between the supply and the user side of open data. The supply side being the producers of data, meaning government and private sector. The user side meaning the civil societies, the NGOs, the entrepreneurs, the researchers, academians, people who actually consume data to help better their processes or for more informed decision making. And demand was placed on us for open data to translate into economic use. There were talks about why all the budgets being spent in building platforms that encourages open data. We have so many pressing problems in Nigeria. Why then are we channeling funds to this new idea? Isn't it an idea from the West? And how does it really affect our economy? Does it really fit into the structures and way of life of Africa, of Nigeria as a whole? These were pressing problems which we were facing. And then we had demands that let us see how open data can actually translate into economic use. Stakeholders were interested in finding out how can this work. Government, CSOs, NGOs, people were coming up with different ideas on how we can see, how can we utilize open data for an economic change. And of course, like I said, open data is a new jargon, and people can understand why there's so much attention and so much talk around it. Now, I'm going to tell you what the next step was. So for me as an open data manager, the next step for me was how do I engage the public in harnessing the values of using data to solve problems? And I thought to myself that building a community around the open data project of Edo State is a very good opportunity to showcase how open data can translate into jobs, how open data can translate into change, how open data can translate into a better economy. And I'm just going to take you through a few steps or through my success stories of building a community in Nigeria. So the first step we did was to get a pulse of what the open data community was like. What are people saying out there? Are they like minds like us? Remember, the definition of a community is people who actually have the same goal. Now, we started to find out, are they really like minds like us out there? Are they people who have the same goals of seeing change? Are they people who have the same goals of seeing a more transparent government? We decided to send out surveys to find like minds like ourselves. We did hangout sessions to create awareness and did a lot of community needs assessment around open data. We created a communication system, both offline and online communication system, to see how we can do a whole thorough stakeholders mapping on the community, or rather the pulse of open data in the community. We went as far as drawing out a 6-month roadmap, which is what I've been working with for the past 6 months, on how to actively engage these stakeholders, how to actually engage like minds like myself, how to actually engage the civil society the journalists, the tech entrepreneurs, how even the government officials, how to be of opening data for the public use. Now, I'm just going to tell you the lessons we learned by doing this. One very striking lesson for myself is that a community is as vibrant as a leader. So bearing in mind still the definition of what a community is, I like to think that for you to actually hold your stead in building one, you as a leader has to be passionate about what you're doing. So for a community to stand strong, a leader, there has to be someone rather who bears the total vision or who bears the whole responsibility of holding the community vibrant, bearing in mind that a community can actually, as fast as the community came to be, a community can actually go down as fast as that too. So I think a community is really as vibrant as a leader, and my experience has taught me that for you to be able to think about building a community, you should also think about sustaining one. And if you're not passionate about it, and if you're not actually trying to solve a problem, you might not be able to sustain one. Now, in this part of the world, if you're not a registered or a registered organization, or if you're not associated with a registered one or backed up by one, you are not recognized. Now, this is one of the lessons I've learned around building a community in Nigeria. And I must note at this moment that being affiliated with School of Data is something that was very tangible in our success story, because being part of the Skill of Data introduces you to a larger network. Being part of the larger network helps you to helps your integrity and helps you to stay backed up. You're being supported by an experienced network, and you're standing on the shoulders of that network to deliver your message of change, to deliver your message of data literacy. So being part of School of Data and being collaborating or associating with Code, that's Connected Development of Nigeria, those were the very tangible steps of association we did, and that has been keeping our community growing. Now, very importantly, you will have to learn on your community and strategize regularly. I like to think, or rather, experience has taught me that there's no laid down principle really of how a community should roll. Because what's going to work in Ghana is not going to work, might not work in Nigeria. What works in the US might not work in Nigeria. So the basic foundational principles might be the same, but the building principles tends to change. And around here, I've learned that you will have to learn on your community. You have to constantly appraise yourself. You constantly have to do feedback mechanism and learn from people who are part of your community. Strategize. Make sure your plans are not really cast in stone. It's good to have a plan, but you should have a plan that is marshable, a plan that is ready to change at every point in time. And one important thing to note is that a community will always plateau. Plateau in what sense? It means that most times you might start with so much momentum, and at a point it might actually go down. So how do you solve challenges like this? When you are moving on well, at some point, there's a time where things might seem not to be going on smoothly, or rather, there's a time where things might just go quiet. So it's the responsibility of that vibrant leader of the community to keep on thinking of strategies to keep the community active, learning on the community, learning on your feedback, going back to your feedback from community members, and thinking of ways you have to be proactive, thinking of ways in which you can keep the community engaged. Base your plans on the needs of the community rather than on your impulse thoughts, or rather than what you feel is relevant at any point in time. And also, in line with this, I also think that double effort is needed to make a case to why you've chosen a goal for your community. I'm going to give an example with respect to what we're doing at the moment. So just like I noted, open data is new on this part of the world. And so when you're talking about open data, when you're sharing with everyone why you're doing open data, why you're doing community building, why you're championing for more transparency, why you're training journalists, why you're training civil societies, why you think they need more data literacy skills, or rather what they need more data skills to help them with their activities, it's something very new. I mean, people already have traditional methodologies in which they've been carrying out their activities, and like it or not, they've been pretty successful with it. So you need double effort to try and tell people, hey, I know this has been working for you, or here there are new ways in which you can get things done. Why not think about learning about improving your Excel skills rather? Why not think about for more community engagement by using social media? Why not think about more collaboration tools like the Google Drive and all? You have to take extra strength, or rather extra efforts, in letting people shift from their status quo to something new. So that's one of the lessons I've learned. And also, one of the lessons I've learned is you have to be disciplined and focused. You know, it's very easy for things to get you out of phase, because around there you find out there's so many challenges of power, challenges of corruption, challenges of unemployment, challenges of low literacy. A whole lot of challenges exist. So when people come to your community, sometimes you're thinking of how can, now you said there's something good about open data, how can open data actually help me change this situation? How can is open data a project? Is open data a tool? Is it a software? You get weird questions like that, I must tell you, around here. And you being disciplined and focused means that you have to be sure not to deviate from what your own strategy and goal is. If your goal is to make sure that everyone in the next 3 months, I want to train about 170 persons to build their Excel skills, you might actually find someone who, all I want to learn, why I'm in your community is because I want to learn about how to do my advocacy, and probably how to attract funds from international donors. And you might just think that, okay, just so I don't lose people in the community, let me deviate from my plan a bit. But I must tell you that in all these things, which you're going to have different people with different wants, with different needs, you just have to be as disciplined and focused as possible. And also, lastly, in one of the lessons learned I have, the last point I have here is that you have to know that you are not alone. You alone cannot change the world, and that's why we have communities, and that's why we need communities. Pick a problem, get good at solving it, and keep going. Find people who share the same values as you, and keep going, keep doing what you're doing, and be consistent with it. And who knows, you'll be successful in no time. So now, what are the unique challenges of organizing a community in Nigeria? I haven't shared my lessons learned. I haven't told you what the community is like in general. What are the unique challenges of organizing one in Nigeria? What are the unique challenges I've experienced? And one very striking one is, bearing in mind that one of the institutional platform of open data is the fact that open data has to be in machine readable format, has to be available via a portal, has to be available via an open license. All these things speaks around information technology. But right here in Nigeria, we find out that the literacy level is very low, 59.6%. That is quite low. We found out that internet penetration is low, 30% internet penetration in Nigeria. It should not that Nigeria is postulated to have a population of about 100. Imagine when only 30% of the population actually has access to internet. that simply tells you that there are more offline than online persons in Nigeria. And last existing challenge I stated here is that people are easily distracted or dissuaded. I'll take you through a few ways in which we've tried to mitigate these issues and in which ways in which we try to make sure that all these issues doesn't distract us from our goal of building a vibrant community, just taking you through how we work around all these challenges. Now, for low literacy level, one thing we do always is to test our audience with little tasks to know how basic we should go. Take for example, we organize a call for a meetup session, and we keep the meetup session mostly open. And you have about 100 persons of hope, okay, maybe 50 persons in attendance in your meetup. One thing we do is to test our audience. We throw little tasks like, okay, hello everyone. How many of you can actually sort through this data? How many of you can actually clean, throwing tasks at them or asking them basic questions as we can help talk about what a Google Drive is. We can help talk about what Google Spreadsheet is. We can help us talk about what it means to actually filter a data, what it means to actually clean, you know. And by trying out those tests, you can easily know what the level of literacy is in your audience. And very quickly, what we do is to have an agenda. What does this do for us? It caters for the side interest. Apart from the usual way of sending out surveys before events, having an open agenda helps you cater for the needs of those who actually didn't probably fill the form online or your registration forms online or your survey forms, because you will definitely have people coming in for your event who have probably been brought in by the word of mouth or probably invited by a friend. So keeping the agenda open helps you quickly hack your agenda, which is something I learned from School of Data Summer Camp. Quickly hack your agenda. Ask people right there, what do you want to know? What are you most interested in today? Why are you here today? What interests you? What challenges are you facing? And that's where you can tell what the level of literacy is in your audience, and it helps you to understand how best to tackle it. And one thing we also do is, when talking about open data, when talking about data as a whole, we try to have more time for questions than actually teaching. One practical way we do that is by breaking our training sessions into different, very little, small segments and into different breakout sessions. That way we have more people, or rather less people to one facilitator, and give people an opportunity to express themselves. And lastly, for low literacy level, we tend to have more use cases. Use cases seem to have been one of the best ways in which we have been carrying out all our sessions, and it has worked for us very well. We tend to look for local use cases to how, if the event is about health, we look for use cases in relation to health and how working with data has helped people make more informed decisions, has helped people with their advocacy, people understand why they themselves should build their skills in open data, or rather build their data skills or build their skills in whatever way they seem interested in. So the second issue we face, or the second challenge, is low internet penetration. Just like I said before, there are more people offline than online. And how do we do this? We tend to use lots of chats, markers, sticky notes. We don't use online presentations, no resources online. We download all the resources, get them into a text, into a folder, and get people to have them. Make sure we save them in flash drives. We print as many as we can print. Get people as much resources as possible to the to the training module or to the training goal, so they can have something to use away from going online. And if we have to give them links or resources, online resources, we put that out on probably a Microsoft Word document and send to everyone. So internet is never really an issue. And even at the event, if we have to use internet, one thing I must tell you we do is to always have a plan B. Always have a plan B. Yeah. So that's one of the ways, or rather, those are the ways in which we tackle the issue of low internet connectivity. Now, for the issues of offline people and online, one of the ways, we tackle this is we try to visualize and conceptualize on paper. Right there in the picture in front of you, that's Olu, the Pascal of Data Fellow in Nigeria. And on the walls, you can see we have charts. You can see we have sticky notes down there. We try to get people to visualize their ideas on paper. That way, we have something to take to ourselves, and they have something to take home. We teach them how to write down issues. We teach them how to engage offline. We use, even when we have to publicize, we tend to use flyers, group letters, word of mouth publicity, posters around campuses, posters around key places in the community, just to get to people who are obviously more offline than online. And right there at the event, to further more collaboration, we tend to ask for people what they're doing, the ideas, the projects, and right there form collaborations at the event so we can pick up communication afterwards. And one thing we also do is at the end of the event, we collect the skill needs which we use or we synthesize to help us host other events or host other meetup sessions. I think I'll be doing a lot of talking at this point. I'm just going to ask Meg if there are any questions. Any questions?
Yeah, we have had a question in. Are there some common questions that come up in the community or at events and that it would be good to have an answer for?
Okay. Do you want me to take another questions now?
Yeah, would you like to answer that now?
Yeah. You there?
Yep, sure am.
Okay, so just give me any of the question at the moment, so we don't have I just keep on talking. So can I understand any question someone has at the moment?
Okay, should we leave them for the end then?
Okay, that's fine. Probably at the end of the course.
Okay.
Yes. So okay. So I really do hope you all are enjoying this course. And if you have any question, please feel free to drop by, and we will take the questions. So I'm just going to take you to the next part of the training, and that's thinking about Nigeria. I should let you all know that a lot of opportunities exist in Nigeria. It's a growing, it's a developing country. It has the largest economy in Africa. And I should tell that a lot of things we see as problems around here are actually challenges and opportunities that anyone can easily dive in, get a solution, and start rising high. So if you are out there and you're thinking about, okay, I want to join the community space, I want to come into the Nigerian market, I want to come in here as an NGO, I want to come in here and assist in advocacy, I want to come in here and support your community or what people are doing around open data or around environment, around any path, I like to think that, or rather, I would like to let you know that you have to come with an open mind. An open mind, what do I mean? You have to come ready to accept the situation. It's going to be a change in culture. It's going to be a change in culture for you. And so you have to come with an open mind. Then Also, if you're thinking of coming, you have to also come with a bucket load of patience. What do I mean? Bucket load of patience in the sense that people like to say Nigeria is a difficult market, but I like to say it's a very competitive and interesting market. So you come with a bucket load of patience is not expecting things to go as you already know, as the status quo you know from wherever you're coming from, but expect things to change. Don't expect things to go the way you intend them to go, but come ready to learn from the space and come with a whole lot of patience and also resilience and consistency. People are very open to change here. People themselves easily change. So you coming with resilience and consistency means that you have to come. If you're here to stay, if you're coming to stay, you have to come to stay. People respond very well to consistency and doggedness. Yeah, never expect too much. Never expect too much. Don't set your expectation high. Or rather, have a good goal, have a high goal, but get ready or rather have a plan B, get ready to change your strategy if anything changes. Always have a plan B in all your plans. You have to be dogged, like I already said, and be prepared to go. I already talked about the internet penetration. I already talked about more people being offline than online. So be ready to go as basic as basic. Get ready to go as simple as possible. Look for the simplest way to get your story told. Look for the simplest way to get your problem solved, or rather, look for the simplest way to communicate your strategy to your audience or to your partners or to your community. That is my own way, or rather my own tips for anyone who is thinking about investing in Nigeria, who is thinking about coming to build a community in Nigeria, who is thinking about coming to join the force of change around here. And I think that's where we're gonna stop for today and community building. So if you have questions, this is the time to ask. Over to Meg.
Okay, we've had a couple of questions via Twitter. The first one, which I read to you before, was, are there some common questions that come up in the community or at events that you hear, and would be good to have an answer for? Can you think of any?
Yes, a few questions that come up is, like I said, I'm going to answer the question with respect to the word open data. When people hear about open data and they hear, oh yes, open data is it's an avenue to create change. Open data can actually help create jobs, can actually help in transparency, can actually help stop corruption. And people come rushing and asking, oh, I just what open data can do. Or is there software that we can install to help us that? And you get questions on are we getting this for free? Are we supposed to pay for this? Are we supposed to commit any funds? And those are simple, naive, and mind-opening questions you get around your community. People who want to ask you as a leader or as the champion for change, why are you doing what you're doing? Or even as why do you think it's important to do what you're doing instead of trying to help us solve the problem of unemployment? Why are you spending so much energy in trying to build a community to get people to be more data literate? I mean, these guys have been doing what they've been doing and they've been successful at it. What makes you feel what you're proposing is actually what can change the situation, you know? So, Meg, those are the kind of simple questions we get around here. And you find out that the answers to those questions are actually not so much of the Excel sheets or so much of, you might not even go as far as doing sort and filtering. It can be as basic as talking about summing and the formula aspect of Excel alone, or even about as simple as going online to search for information. You might actually just be having basic answers as that to those questions.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's great. Another question we had, you spoke about, and you had some great insights on the importance of having a vibrant leader. And someone has asked, is one person enough?
Oh no, no. One person is not enough, and very much better if you're more than one trying to build your community. A community is about a group of persons, and very importantly, I forgot to mention, it can just be one person who has the idea. Then go out to find those who share similar passion for change, or who share similar characteristics, or who have similar goals. And it's not a community if it's not more than one person. But then you need one or two persons who need to point, who need to hold touchlight, who need to be able to say yes, who need to be able to say no at some point, or who need to be able to bring everyone together, who understands the values or the change you're trying to make, and who need to keep the community as vibrant as possible. As much as it's good to have 10 to 5 persons leading a group, but even businesses understand that at some point there just has to be a CEO. Yeah, so that's the answer.
Okay, well, thanks so much, Nkechi, for your Skillshare today. I'm sure it's going to be really interesting and useful to a great many people out there. I think we'll wrap it up now.
Okay.
Thanks very much,
Thank
Nkechi.
you.